Coming at you full-fledged. It's your boy Rage Man Reg with another video for y'all, man. Welcome, YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA draft has concluded. To add to that, outside of a few remaining free agents, the squads for next year are set. Last June, I shared my top 10 players within the league and got a lot of good feedback. Feedback in general. That's what we want on this channel, is engagement. And that was, in fact, one of my favorite videos to produce. I'm going to put that link in the description below. And if you haven't watched it, I suggest you do so because it will assist you, hopefully, in understanding my selections based on the outcomes of both regular and postseasons. With that being said, I do have two omissions from last year's list. So, to get into it, we start with number 10, Kawhi Leonard. Superstar small forward of my Los Angeles Clippers. Didn't necessarily have a better campaign than last year, but his impact and production was very similar to the previous season where he played 68 games and made the All-NBA second team. This past season, he put up 21.5 points per game off 49.8, 41.1, and 81 shooting splits, whilst dishing 3.1 assists and grabbing 5.9 rebounds a game. Now, go back and look at his numbers from 2 seasons ago with 31 more games played, nearly identical. In addition to the individual stats, in between these past 2 years, the Clippers only lost one more game and took the team, who were a lot of people's favorites, who lost to the eventual champs, to 7 games in the first round. With all that I just described, do you objectively think Finals MVP Jaylen Brown had a better year than Kawhi? Especially considering how his season ended. Let me know. Number 9, Anthony Edwards. He went down 5 spots compared to last season, but truly that's not based on his season as a whole or individually. For the second straight year, Edwards has had a career year in scoring where he averaged the best 27.6 points per game off a crazy 39.5% from 3. Credit to him for making an improvement in the midst of the Olympics, in the offseason, and throughout the season itself, because the rate in which he was shooting was a concern earlier on. I'm sure y'all asking, why someone who made it to the second round this low? Again, if y'all watch my video from last year, I put him at 5 for eliminating superstars like Kevin Durant, and at the time, the reigning Finals MVP. As he did the same thing with LeBron James and Stephen Curry, I have to say this time wasn't so impressive. Now, this was the second time the Minnesota Timberwolves made it to the Western Conference Finals in franchise history. The team, Ant-Man specifically, didn't learn anything by beating old man Bron and a Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry for most of that second round series. I only think he played 1 game. I'm not saying that's an asterisk on his end. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the Timberwolves didn't learn from beating those guys. It's not impressive, and they got torn apart by the eventual champs. So he just went down a couple spots, still in the top 10 for me. Respect to him. Number 8, I have Donovan Mitchell. As of now, he's the best shooting guard in the league. I know my boy Devin Booker might have something to say about that, but with his spot and his own franchise, he can't be considered right now. I'm sorry. Plus, uh, Mitchell finished top 5 in MVP votes, and his teams were better than the last two players I mentioned. The Cleveland Cavaliers won their second highest amount of games in franchise history, with Spider Mitchell being the leading scorer. Ultimately, this is one of the more disappointing seasons in terms of regular season wins. But we have to bring up the fact that the Cavs lost 3 starters in the playoffs. Now, DeAndre Hunter, I know he fluctuates within starters and coming off the bench, but still, despite that, Mitchell dropped 42 points, 42, 43 points in Game 3 against the Eastern Conference champions. With the offseason acquisition of Lonzo Ball, as well as their starters returning, they should remain at the top of the East. Now, Donovan Mitchell, he replaces Luka Doncic on my top 10 list. Now, I had Luka Doncic 3 on my list. Now, having him completely out of the top 10, I know may be a wild suggestion on my end. But look where I'm coming from. Donovan Mitchell came from the Utah Jazz to the Cleveland Cavaliers and took them to their second winningest season ever. Now, I don't think it's 60 games, but I do believe that this is a record on his end. I don't know if this is good on his end, but again, I'm gonna get to the point. Donovan Mitchell is the only player to have had the top record on both conferences and not make the conference finals. Okay, I give him that. He made the he didn't get around. He didn't get eliminated in the first round, did he? Or was it the second round? I'm not sure. Either way, comparing that to Luka Doncic, who made the finals last year on his own team with the Dallas Mavericks, was traded acrimoniously to the Lakers, where he is a lame duck until I know he just re-signed, and they are in the works of getting rid of old man Bron, but he is still a lame duck until LeBron leaves. He was struggling at first. They had a good year, and they eventually got squashed by Ant-Man and the Timberwolves. Now, tell me objectively, with all that tumult within the Mavericks and getting him to a new team and him losing weight to get in shape, and then all the rigmarole that comes with playing LeBron James, he's still a top 10 player? No, absolutely not. That's my reasoning behind that. Now, we go to number 7, Jason Tatum. He took a drastic fall from number 1 on my list. He was the best player in the world at the end of the 2023-2024 season. But in his case, not in Luka's, this goes to show how good he really is. Arguably, the most consistent player on a seasonal basis, the superstar led the Boston Celtics to another 60-plus win campaign as the best small forward per his 4th straight All-NBA team selection. First team at that. Tatum also finished 4th in MVP votes. And this year was the most realistic year for him to do so, being the champ. However, I have a theory that because the Celtics were so good collectively, and JT really only improved in stats like rebounds and assists, the voters didn't believe he contributed that much to it as the leader of the team, ironically. In my view, he should have finished at least top 2 due to games won, but whatever. Before his catastrophic Achilles tear, he dropped 42 points, 8 boards, with 4 steals in a two-way clinic in the second round of the playoffs against the New York Knicks. Of course, he may have been higher without the injury, but I still have to acknowledge the output. Still top 10 output in the season. Number 6, we got the guy who led the charge in Tatum's elimination, Jalen Brunson. Now, outside of my 2 omissions and JT, the King of New York has made the biggest leap upward on my list thus far. Now, if we're considering his per game stats, this could be debated. He only increased his average in field goal percentage, which is 48.8, and assists. Brunson even fell from 5th in MVP votes to 10th. This is similar to Jason Tatum, where a player gets quote-unquote help, which really means a player who is supposed to acquiesce to him, who they'd want to be better, in theory could be better, in Brunson's case, Karl Anthony Towns, but is in fact not. This could also be a contributing factor to him being awarded the Clutch Player of the Year. Letting go of Tom Thibodeau and gaining Mike Brown alongside the second apron definitely puts pressure on him and his team. I gave y'all my reasoning as to why it was warranted for him to go up on my list, but he has to next year. He has to lift himself and his team past the second round into the conference finals. Well, didn't they make the conference finals? They should make the finals at least, or lose in a better fashion in the conference finals to go up any further on my list. So, you want to clap, my man. Number 5, we got Pascal Siakam. In terms of position optimization and consistency, he's for sure the second best power forward in the game. We know that the trade 2 seasons ago was questioned, but it was the catalyst to the Indiana Pacers making the Eastern Conference Finals. Viewers and pundits respected it, but didn't expect it to be sustained. Again, Siakam was the leading scorer of the team with 20.2 points per game, and he made his 3rd All-Star selection, increasing Indiana's wins by 3 compared to the previous season. They won 50 games. Like my video last year, Siakam is having some of his best shooting splits. In fact, this is his 4th consecutive season shooting at least 50% from the field. With the starting point guard being completely out of commission next season, we'll see if those back-to-back postseason wins over the Milwaukee Bucks and his finals appearance keeps him at that position. Speaking of his Pacers partner, number 4, we got Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I know I mentioned Jalen Brunson in this respect, but Hallie went from number 9 on my list to bordering top 3. I know they don't consider postseason play, but bro was definitely the real clutch player of the year. He wasn't the league leader in passing this season, but he did finish fourth this year. And I still recognize him as the best pure point guard in the league because one of the players ahead of him, Trae Young, isn't on a winning team. Now, he got the potential to come up with the acquisitions they made, the trades, and all the pickups they made during the offseason, but who's to say? And the other two aren't point guards that are above him in assists. James Harden and someone else who will be named later in this list. Now, this is how you get into the top 5 without being an all-star. 1, beating a finals MVP and back-to-back postseasons. 2, gentlemen sweeping a 64-win team and knocking out the New York Knicks back-to-back postseasons with 2 different iterations of that team. Now, Halliburton's potential to pass higher on this list was crushed in Game 7 of the NBA Finals with a terrible Achilles tear. Here, we give credit where it's due, though. He came up, playoff riser, man. Playoff riser. Like, I think he got paid already. Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, he's going to get paid. Maybe Obi Toppin. We see Miles Turner got paid by the Milwaukee Bucks. So, where the Pacers will lead next year, we don't know. But I still had to give their star point guard credit. Now, speaking of giving credit where it's due and the Milwaukee Bucks, we have the third best player in the game right now, which is Giannis Antetokounmpo. My reasoning for moving the Greek Freak is mixed. It's mixed, man. I'm a little bit iffy on this one. I know I said last year he needed to stop with the GM antics, but if this is the team y'all want him to win with, then he should keep it up. I was regrettably excited over the Kyle Kuzma trade. If I'm Giannis, I'm taking that decision to trade for bro as an insult because he contributed nothing. I believe in one of those playoffs games, he had a donut, in fact. A donut, not just in points, a donut in everything. He was doing cardio. No points, no assists, no rebounds, not even a turnover. Despite this, Antetokounmpo continued to set the standard for dropping some of the easiest 30-point games whilst being the most physically imposing player. For the 7th straight season, he's been named to the All-NBA first team. Now, these past 2 seasons ended in reverse. In the 2024 playoffs, Giannis was ruled out of most of the second round games as the Bucks went down in 5. This year's postseason saw All-Star Damian Lillard sidelined a bit before the playoffs with a scary blood clot. Overcoming that ailment, he'd be the second player chronologically to blow out his Achilles, resulting in another 5-game loss to the Indiana Pacers. Now, injuries prevented the duo from blossoming in the playoffs. And we're well removed from the Dame buyout and the Bucks signing Miles Turner. So, like Brunson, I'm afraid to say Giannis is on the clock to do something in the playoffs to rise his team, not just himself. If he doesn't, maybe he'll still be in the top 5, putting up a 30-point, 60% from the field effort. But number 3 will be crazy if he in the same position next year. Number 2 is Nikola Jokic. Now, I know I had him relatively low at number 5 last year. And that was mainly because that selection of him winning a third MVP with one finals appearance is just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. Not to mention, the Denver Nuggets failed to at least make the Western Conference Finals as defending champions. So he went down. That's consistent with Jason Tatum going down earlier in my list. And he was injured, and he got injured. This year, I gotta respect it though. Jokic is cold, bro. Jokic is cold, man. Averaged a triple-double at center. Is averaging a triple-double at center. It's unprecedented. Now, we could go back in the prehistoric days of the NBA when blocks weren't recorded and give credit to Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, but we're not going to do that. We're also going to credit Jokic for being an above-average defender, putting up 1.2 steals per game. Now, we can go into the advanced stats with the blow-bys and stuff, but nearly 2 steals a game at center, bro. Come on, man. That got to mean something. And as of right now, he's also one of the more consistent players in the league individually and as a collective for the Nuggets. He was named first All NBA for the 5th time out of 7 total. I believe he made 2 other second All NBA teams. And the Nuggets won at least 50 games for the 3rd straight year. Strolling into the postseason, the champs were challenged. But got out of a Game 7 slugfest with my LA Clippers. This eventually led to Denver burning out to who? The eventual champions, led by my number 1, which is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And we already knew this. How fitting that both conference finalists on my list came up 7 spots. Did they come up 7 spots? Hold on. No, he came up. I don't know where I had him. I think he was at 6 last year. He came up 6. Yeah, he came up 5. And Tyrese was at 9 and he went to 4. So both of them came up 5. Yeah. I shared already in previous videos how, in my view, that the 2025 OKC Thunder are the greatest Western Conference team ever, with only 2 losses to their Eastern Conference opponents. 3, technically, because it was in a series, coming from the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Finals. SGA, who has claimed the 2nd best single season of any point guard, led them the entire time. Coming up short in the 2nd round series against the Dallas Mavericks, the season prior, and missing out on an award, a rightful MVP award, the Youngins made up for it, winning the most amount of games in Thunder history and tying the 97 Chicago Bulls for the 3rd most cumulative wins with 84. The big 3 of this squad signed their extensions, summing up to nearly $1 billion. And they seem to so far have not been afraid of their 2nd apron. Now, they won't be able to sign Hardenstein this year or Dort, but we'll see where that goes. We'll see if they trade them for other suitable role players or just replace them with the draft picks that they have. We'll see. With that being said, here's my completed top 10 players in the NBA today. Number 10, we have Kawhi Leonard due to his impact in just 37 games played. is identical to the season where he played 68. Number 9, we got Anthony Edwards, who also had a career year in scoring and from the three. And he also eliminated some superstars. I can't speak to how impressive that is at that point in this point in their careers. Number 8, we got Donovan Mitchell, who was the leading scorer on a 64-win team, and in my opinion, is the best shooting guard in the league today. Number 7, Jason Tatum. He was at the time the reigning champion and overall, in my opinion, the most consistent player in the league since being drafted. Number 6, Jalen Brunson, who is the third best point guard in the league and no question a top 5 Eastern Conference player. Now, you can have him number 1, but I think that's a bit of a stretch. Number 5, we got Pascal Siakam, who is the second best power forward in the league and was the scoring leader on a finals team. So he made it to the championship round and was the best scorer on his team. Number 4, we got his teammate, Tyrese Halliburton, who is still the best pure point guard in the league. And without being an all-star this season, he is by far a playoff riser. So all-star status meant nothing for him to rise up when it meant the most. Number 5, we got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just like last season, averaged the same amount of points, 30.4, off a percentage less, but still 60%, 60.4% from the field. Second straight year doing that. Historic. Maybe the easiest 30-piece ever. And his playoff consistency. Now, he's consistently not been making the conference finals since winning the championship, but they won 50 games and got there. Number 2, we got Nikola Jokic. Averaged a triple-double at center. Playoff consistency as well. 3 straight 50-win seasons for the Nuggets. And we conclude with number 1, again, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Superstar output, newly named superstar in the league. The second best run of any point guard, scoring point guard, pass first point guard this season is the best season we've seen outside of Magic in 87. So that is my top 10 players in the league today. Now, with that being said, we got officially, now I know this word is slung around so loosely in circles, in sports circles, the term superstar. Now, if y'all have been watching my channel long enough, y'all know that my definition of a superstar is a player that has shown his impact in both the postseason and the regular season with the hardware to match it, preferably 2 out of the 3 suffices: a championship, a finals MVP, and a regular season MVP. Shai had all 3 of them. He had finals MVP, championship, and regular season MVP this past season. So now we have 12 superstars. That being Nikola Jokic, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, KD, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Did I say Jokic yet? I think I said Jokic. I said over 10. I'm tripping. Let me say that again. Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, SGA himself, KD, Bron, Curry. I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else? Who else? Right now. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, the only players, there's only 8 superstars in the league, bro. There's only 8 superstars in the league. Proven talents in both regular and postseasons with the hardware to prove it. So, with that being said, I've said a lot. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. But first, comment at the beginning, middle, and end of the video. Like the video. Share for us to see. Subscribe if you're new. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop. Man, this was fun to make. I did some brainstorming on this, and I really didn't want to take out too many people. I had to take out some people. I'm like, I can't. There's no way the same 10 people had the best season this year as last year, and they didn't. Now, is that controversial to y'all? Maybe. This is my list, but I do want y'all opinion.